Hello and welcome back. In this video, we'll discuss what the project is all about and in terms of what you're going to learn and build. Okay, so let's get started. A demo is worth 1,000 slides. So what I'm going to do next is open my browser here and open a new tab. And I'm going to navigate to the site where the application is actually hosted and deployed. Okay, this is something that we get to build as we go along and continue to introduce new features and essentially arrive at the end finished product. So let's get started. And as I have mentioned in one of the preview videos, we will be using netlify as our front-end deployment infrastructure, and we also have a separate deployment infrastructure for our backend APIs, which is going to be Heroku. So something that we're going to talk about in one of the future videos. But for now, let's get started with netlify, where our front-end React UI project is deployed. Okay, so I'm going to head over to this particular URL. Alright, so there we go. So this is the application as it is deployed on netlify right now, and this is our landing page. We would be developing a food ordering app which allows us to order food from home and get it delivered to our home in under 30 minutes flat, okay, as it's mentioned here. Alright, so if you look at this right now, this is our landing page, and this is one of our first tasks that we're going to be building. And and it essentially has multiple aspects to it. But first, we'll be building the static aspects of this page, which is the navbar and the footer. And this is going to be the dynamic aspect. The landing page predominantly is kind of static right now because there's nothing dynamic in here. Because if I click on this right now, it actually navigates to another page on this app. Okay, coming back to the landing page here. So we're going to be using these cards, which are necessarily Bootstrap cards coming from the Bootstrap CSS library, and we will also be using some interesting libraries from React, which is the React type libraries, which allows us to essentially have this particular strings run in a loop, right? And just that we're seeing here. So coming back to our navbar and the footer, these are going to be the constants whenever we traverse from one page to another, which let's say we go to the catalog here, and this is always going to be the constant. And there will be certain times when there would be variations when we're, let's say, signed in as opposed to not signed in. So right now, if you're signed in, if you're not signed in, we see the sign in and register links on the navbar. If we are signed in, we will only be seeing the other nav links like orders and profile and also a sign out link. So this is the landing page, and we will also be developing as the catalog page. And let's go to the browse. We can go to the catalog page from here. You can also go from here. Let's say go explore, and this is what we get to see on the catalog page right now. So here it lists all the products, or rather all the dishes that we offer on Indie Cafe, which is the app that we're trying to build here. And this is the logo for our project here. Catalog page allows us to do multiple things here. First thing is we have two parts to this. One is the UI aspect, where we're actually trying to render the page and presenting all the dishes in our catalog. The other one is the backend aspect of it, where we are trying to store all this information, all the metadata related to the dishes in our database in the backend, and we are trying to retrieve that through APIs from our persistent database. And we can do a couple of things here in this particular page. So we can actually do a bit of filtering based on the category. So let's say I choose this particular category in the South Indian. It lists dishes which are specific to that particular category. And let's say I choose Italian. It is essentially a combination of both the categories. So the slide right now listing dishes which are falling in the category of South Indian and as well as Italian. Okay, and let's say I go back to Italian, just Italian, it should just show me 2 dishes right now. All right, so let's see what we can do here. So we can also do a bit of add here. So let's say I go and add to cart here. It should actually go ahead and add to the cart, and it should show me this particular notification here. And I go back and click on one of the surrounding areas. It takes me back to the original view, and we also have an updated cart here. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a moment. And let's say I add this one to the cart. It updates the cart here as well. All right, and another thing that we want to take a look at here is the spinner component. So if I go here, and yeah, maybe it's not gonna, yeah, it's probably gonna manifest itself on a different page, I would think. So let's go to the cart page next. Okay, so this is the cart right now, and we see that we are not authenticated yet. And in order to purchase these dishes, we have to be signed in. And we can do the sign in from multiple places. One is from the navbar, where we have a nav link here. Another one is from here. We also can register in case you're not registered. So that will take us to the registration view. So first, let's try to sign in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right now. Okay, so I can sign in as this particular user here right now, and this will take us to the Auth0 page, essentially, which is the identity management platform that we're trying to use here. So I'm going to say continue, and this is already registered user, so essentially I'm going to come back in and sign in as this particular user here. Okay, super. So right now, this is the view of an authenticated user and an authorized user. And if I go right now to the navbar, I also see the profile for Jane. I also see the orders that Jane is already placed. I also see the nav link to sign out. Right now, I also want to take a look at the responsive UI. So let's say I go here and click on this particular device toolbar toggle. It should allow me to look at the view of a different device right now. So this is right now a Galaxy S5. Okay, and I can also do, let's say if I do 50%, okay, this is what, 100%, yeah, bigger one. Okay, so I can scroll up and down here right now. Should be able to, yeah, there we go. I can also choose to view it in, let's say, another mobile phone, which is going to be iPhone X. Okay, and this is how it looks like. And if you look at it right now, our cart has a different view because of the real estate constraints on a typical mobile device. We are actually showing all our dishes in our cart in the form of a slider. So if I essentially click on these things, it actually shows the different dishes in a slider. So if I go back to the regular view, which is a desktop view, I should be able to see this particular view here. Okay, which is different. All right, another thing that I want to point out here is that we have a different set of cards here compared to our landing page. Something to think about. This is actually something that is being built as part of this project, not necessarily coming from our Bootstrap library. So coming back to our card here, I'm going to go ahead and check out now, and this one should take me to the Stripe checkout view. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this one. There we go. This is Stripe hosted checkout page. I'm going to go ahead and give some of the details here. Say some random email. Okay, and also give some test cards for testing purposes. These are like cards that are exclusively set up for testing purposes, not necessarily genuine cards which are issued by the banks. Okay, so I'm going to say give some number here. This is a MasterCard, all right, and I'm going to give some random CVC number and click on pay, and it should trigger a slew of events here, essentially on Stripe, and then confirm that our order is submitted. It says that it is actually placed right now, and if I go here, it should take me to the order page. Okay, so let's click on this one. You can go there to multiple places, but this is the direct link. I can also go here and then essentially track it down, but I'm going to go here, and there is our order. Okay, and I have an option to cancel. I have an option to track the order. Okay, so let's say I say refresh, there is no progress. All right, super. So there we go. We have our order, which is essentially placed right now. You can also take a look at the orders here. All right, so these are the list of orders for the user Jane, and you can also go here and click on this chevron and click on view order, and it should list the individual order and give me the details in terms of where the order is at. Right now it is in processing state. Alright, so this is the view for our regular user, which is Jane, and there is also another kind of user, which is the admin user, and we'll come to that in a bit. I'm going to open another browser here, which is going to be a different browser. In my case, it's going to be Firefox. Okay, and let me open this in a kind of 50-50 mode, essentially. Okay, I'm going to log in here, and I'm going to log in as an admin user this time around. Say continue, and let's see what differences we have here. All right. So right now we have the admin user right now, and he has additional privileges in terms of an admin section that's being provided to him, there where he can do a lot of things, and one of them being able to add categories of new dishes or add dishes themselves. So let's say, for example, I go to add dish. It gives me this particular interface to add a dish, name, description, and upload a photo. And in here, I can actually upload the photo of the dish, and I can also do a preview here. Okay, and I can also do manage orders here, and this is where it allows me to accept new orders. So let's say, for example, this is the latest order and I can go here into this particular order as an admin, look at the view order, and if you look here, I have an additional privilege here to accept the order or cancel the order. Okay, so let's see what happens if I accept the order. I'm going to say accept the order. Yep, there we go. So right now, whenever I accept the order as an admin, it sends me a real-time WebSockets notification that it's saying that it's been set to processing state, right? So I can go here and go here again. Again, it gets refreshed and the order is set to processing here. Okay, view order, and now we have 2 checks. All right, super. Another aspect that I want to walk through is the compliance management, or for that matter, consent management from the user on this application. So what happens is that since we're going to be using cookies as part of our application, we want to make sure that the user is aware that we're collecting information through cookies and then essentially making use of that information. Okay, so how do we do that? So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page here and see what happens next, and there we go. So here we have a notification to the user that we are using cookies to essentially make our website work better and provide better user experience. And this is an indication to the user, and the user says, fine, I'm okay if I don't essentially agree to this, I will not be able to use the application here. So if you look right now, everything else is disabled. All right, all the interfaces that we have here are not usable right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say got it, and next we can actually go ahead and say explore or go to the orders and do all the other navigation here. Okay, and go to the home page and stuff like that. So that was to do with the compliance management, or which are generally regional in nature or could be related to the international laws or local laws and stuff like that. Okay, so that's to do with the compliance management, or a small part of compliance management, because generally compliance managements like GDPR are pretty broad in nature, and this is one small part of it, which is the consent management aspect of it. Alright, another thing that I want to essentially show here is the ability to handle downtime. So for example, let's say there is an upgrade that's happening on our API side, moving from, let's say we are patching our systems or doing some upgrades or doing some upgrades to the underlying firmware or stuff like that. So we have a mandate from our infrastructure team to have a downtime for our app. Okay, so in order to handle that, we need to provide the right kind of messaging and communication to our app users in terms of the fact that we are actually going offline and for some time, and we'll be back as soon as our maintenance window is over. Okay, so how do we do that? So I'm going to go ahead and simulate that stuff here. I'm going to go to the Heroku backend where we have deployed our APIs. I'm going to go ahead and enable the maintenance mode here, and I'm going to say enable maintenance mode, and as soon as that's done, let's see what happens right now. I'm going to go to the browse here. All right, and there we go. We are on maintenance mode right now, and we get a page here that says we're currently offline and please retry later. And we also have a retry option here. And let's say I go ahead and retry this, and it goes to the landing page and checks, if the maintenance period is done. If the period is still not over, we go back to the offline view. Okay, so let's see. I am going to go back to the APIs again. I'm gonna go back to the online mode now, so I'm gonna say switch it back to regular mode, which is the online mode, and say disable maintenance mode. Okay, so back here I'm gonna say retry, and this time around it takes me back to the landing page, and I can essentially go back to the other pages as well, which is the catalog page, the cart, the orders, and all those things. Okay, so these are some of the things that we do. There's other things as well in terms of managing the search, right? We can do a lot of stuff related to the search. We can search for particular dishes in our catalog. We can also do things related to the profile management. We can do the API security aspect of it. For example, if I go to the inspect mode here, okay, and let's say I go to the network, all right, and I'm going to specifically look for the XHR, and if I go here and take a look at the view order, there we go. We are sending an API call here, okay, and if you look at this right now, look at some of the headers. Okay, these are the request headers, and we're actually setting an authorization token here, which is the JWT token. All right, so that's one of the things, and we're also doing a lot of stuff related to compression and caching and stuff like that to make sure that the rendering of the UI is fast and it is not necessarily loading all the time. So we've made sure that we're using the HTTP caching directives whenever we're trying to render the objects from our backend API server. This in a nutshell is what we're going to be doing here. Of course, there is a lot that also we can do here in terms of the admin view, which is something that we will take a look at as we go along. So we can take a look at different orders, like the orders that are in processing stage, do some filtering, right? So all that stuff we can do here as an admin. You can also do stuff like, add a category, add a dish. We can preview the dish as well here. Let me see if I can get that done here as well. So let's say I want to upload a photo here for a dish. Okay, I'm going to go here, space here. I can choose this particular dish. There we go. We actually get a preview. Okay, we get a preview of that before we can upload that. Okay, that's cool, right? Super. So these are some of the things that we'll be doing. There are also going to be some non-functional requirements that we'll be taking a look at, especially related to security, related to offline management, something that we saw, and performance management, all right? And a lot of stuff related to how we can place the order, fulfill the orders, and how we communicate with the users. Let's say you want to communicate with them through text messaging and giving them a message with the order link, right? That's something that we'll be also essentially implementing here in this project. Finally, let's also take a look at how our text messages look like. So these are some of the text messages that I've already gotten, right? So this is the URL, which is essentially a tiny URL which represents a particular order, and if I am gonna click on that particular URL, it should take me to the URL here. Okay, so it's gonna open a window and it's gonna take me to the order here. So yeah, it asks me to log in right now as that particular user. I'm going to go ahead and continue. This is all happening on my cell phone, by the way. Okay, and I'm going to continue, and there we go. We have the order view on the cell phone. This is how it's going to look on our cell phone. Okay, and that's where we have the responsive UI coming in a picture, and we have all the same controls and the user interface, except that, they're responsive to a different kind of a user device. Okay, so if I go ahead and say refresh here, it should allow me to refresh, and yeah, I see that particular things. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. And this is the SMS bit, and let's see if I can actually go ahead and show a cancel. So we'll also get messages for, let's say, placing the order, and also for the SMS for, let's say, canceling the order. So let's see if I can pull it off. Alright, so this is the SMS that we get for canceling the order, right? The one that is in the middle, okay? Right, the one that's actually grayed out, right? And the one above is the one that we got for placing the order. Okay, alright, so this in a nutshell is a gist of what we're going to build as part of this project. Hopefully you find this interesting and inspiring, and let's see how we go ahead and build this. This is going to be an interesting journey. Hopefully you will enjoy this journey and ride as well till the end. Alright, that was the Volvo overview. Obviously I glossed over a lot of the details, but those details are something that we will learn as we go along in this course. So let's dive right in and enjoy the ride.